welcome to another Tips for Cliff video. This time we're looking at a Anubis demo. Thank the gods. Not another Inferno demo. This demo review has been submitted by James, also known as Burr. And the context he provided, which is useful, thank you, is that this is his second ever Anubis game. I believe James was a CSGO veteran, so he played almost the same sort of era that I played, which was like Cobblestone, Cache. These were the maps back in the day. Obviously now we have Anubis and Ancient. I quite like both the new maps actually. Only map I dislike is Vertigo, but enough about me, more about James. He also said that there were some issues with his teammates were kind of toxic. There was one guy complaining from the first round that it was a map that he didn't want to play. There wasn't great cohesion in terms of team play. I think that's what he said. The team was a bit naff, basically. As I said before, when we solo queue, we have to make do as best we can. There's no point expending energy worrying about things we can't control. We just have to make the best of it. So that's what we will try to do in this Anubis game. And we'll see if there are any tips I can provide to James on how to improve his Anubis and have a better time. So he's going to be playing aggro mids. I'm just going to change the volume. Okay. Take camera to A control. Should be pretty much over this round. We have 4 people on site. CTs aren't even reacting. One CT is AFK. You seem a little bit lost. Okay, it's just a tip. It's better to play on this side of the angle, so that if you take a fight, you can back away. In this cubby, you can kind of back away, but you would be backing away hitting the S key. We never want to do that, because hitting the S key means we have to move a finger off W to S. It's much more easy to just use A and D. It also favors us in duels with counter strafing. So if we play this upper position, it's a better position to play on the right side, so that you can take a fight, take a shot. Not even, you could just take info if you want, and then you can hide, and you can move if you wish, whereas here you're kind of trapped. Be surprised if they do push A main here that you get kind of trapped in this position because you can't go anywhere when you're stuck on the left side. Again, you don't know that, you barely played, so. Okay, good crosshair placement. You do dink the guy. Yeah, you get killed here. I kind of feel like there are it's a small criticism, like a nitpick kind of thing. But I feel like because you dinked the first guy, you were desperate to try and like finish the kill, right? Because you dinked the first guy, you thought this guy was low, green, when he traded places. So you overextended a bit here for no reason. But whatever. I mean, good crosshair placement, not really a mistake. Position could be a little bit better. Okay, I don't know, maybe I'll show some stuff on Anubis after, maybe, I don't know, I've done so much fucking demo work today. Like, you can have a better protocol when taking B main control. I should contextualize this, I suppose. When I speak to James, hi James, when I speak to you about the games, obviously I'm speaking to you from a different level than the other guys. I would probably say that you're the best, in the group in terms of mechanics, in terms of like crosshair placement, aim, and basic dueling. I feel like I have to shout out Max because I think you're better than Max in terms of mechanics, but I think Max, disturbingly, has a very high ceiling. And what I mean by that is he can have these freak games where he just dominates everything, and I don't really understand why, and I don't think I'll ever understand why. But aside from that, I'd say you're mechanically probably the best in the group. So when I speak to you, I'm going to be talking at a higher level than the other demo reviews I've done. You're also more experienced, I think. So it might seem like I'm being more critical in a way, and I'm talking about things that I didn't talk about for the other guys, but it's because I respect your ability in the game. I want to speak to you at a bit of a higher level, so that the feedback is more useful to you. So I wouldn't say this for like a lower level player, but I would say it for you, which is when you are attacking B or attacking A or attacking middle, you want to have a protocol in mind of things that you're doing. A protocol just means a set of things that you're doing at the start of the round. This seemingly is like blank at the moment on Anubis, which I understand it's your second time playing the map. But you're just like running to B, there's no grenades being used, there's no utility being used, and you have your knife out to like a dangerous point. It's very popular on CT side, especially on Force Fires, which this could be, right? It's the second round. It's very possible that these guys buy armor and 5-7. It's quite popular in Anubis that CTs take this fight aggro. Now, they would be at a disadvantage because Yellow is doing the correct thing and he's holding this angle. And Green also has a gun out. But we need to be practicing to be self-sufficient in solo queue. We can't practice assuming that our teammates are going to be doing the right thing. We need to be doing the right thing so that we have consistency across solo queue games. So, just a point, I feel like the protocol is a bit blank, right? It's just run here, knife out. I would prefer to see, like, when you get to here, to throw a HE, which will bounce off this wall and do a ton of damage and disrupt early rushes. You could also throw a flash. And then, as soon as we get to this point where CTs can play aggressive, we want to have a rifle out, not just be in the middle of nowhere with a knife. Also, I kind of would prefer that you had a max 10. Maybe you just like the Galil. Galil's very good, it's a very strong weapon. It's kind of overpowered in CS2 to be fair. But max 10 means you could farm kills, you can get more money for kills, you got the movement advantage. It's so strong in second round. And I don't actually see any Ts with a max 10. I really advise against AKs because it's just not effective to use AKs against like no armor pistol players. You want to farm, you want to make money. You can't do that with a Galil, you can only do that with max 10. But if you really love the Galil, then it's not that big of a deal. But I would say, just as a thing that you could maybe try, start buying Mac 10 on a second round if you win first. Good crosshair placement. They get traded. It's fine. Not really any issue there. I feel like you would have a better percentages. Excuse me. Better percentages with a Mac 10 than a Galil. Now we're going towards A. And you're second in, trading for green. Okay, you get there eventually. I feel like this fight is from... let's just have another look. You do adjust properly, so your crosshair goes to the correct angle. So you're shooting whilst moving. The first bullet isn't accurate because you're moving while shooting. So we need to be stationary before we start shooting. And the second thing, which is very important, I said this to Alex, and it's very common. If you watch your own demos, or watch anyone in this watching this video watches their own demos, you'll see it because it's so common at lower level, which is people shoot before they aim. They put their crosshair near the guy, they shoot, then they drag the crosshair to the guy while shooting, which is not how you aim in CS. You have to practice this in DM or offline, whatever, however you practice. You have to practice aim, then shoot, not shoot, then aim. And this can come from, it's a bad habit which I think is almost formed in deathmatch and offline servers, which, for example, if you've ever used aimbots, a way that certain people play aimbots is they try to headshot enemies as quickly as possible, and what they're doing is just flicking to every opponent, which is very not a conducive way to practice aim. Aim first, take your time, don't be too fast, you're not at that level yet to be insta headshotting. Like flicking as a concept is not really what people think. I'm not going to go into that, it's a bit too high level for this specific game. The point is, aim then shoot, don't shoot then aim. You see what I mean? I mean, I know it's slow motion, so it looks a bit funky. But you're shooting, and then you're dragging your crosshair. You're not dragging your crosshair on the head, then shooting, if that makes sense. And that's why you're whiffing. Now, everyone whiffs, so that's not, you know. I'm just trying to show you so that you can improve, right? So you can practice this, and then you will have better success in fights like this. I'll get him eventually. Oh. Excuse me. So a better thing to do here is, because this guy's already taken his position, would be to take the low ground position. Because if you take the low ground peak like this, Michael Jackson there, gotta love CS2, eh? If you take the low angle like this, right, and peak, this guy, if he aims at you, then your teammate can swing, kill him. If he aims at your teammate, you'll kill him, right? So don't just try to think of spacing. It's incredibly difficult to do, obviously, in the game, and you shouldn't be thinking of it in the game, but it's something to be aware of that you can practice in terms of looking at the game, which is when you have two people, you want good spacing between the two people. We don't want to immediately cling to the our teammate's back, because it puts us at a disadvantage. You have a smoke, so you could smoke him off. No, you're just going to take the fight. Okay. I'm also not seeing any utility on executes. Like no smokes, nothing, no flashes. Which I guess you're keeping it simple, which is good, but maybe we can show some stuff on Anubis, maybe. I don't know. Alright, kind of unlucky. Timing is a bit scuffed. It'd be nice to have some cohesion with this guy and this guy, but obviously it's solo queue. We can't have the mentality that things are going to be perfect in solo queue. To think like that is going to make you angry and a loser, basically. So, you know, sometimes shit happens, whatever. Bit of a whiff, but, you know, these things happen. Do you feel like you're buying every round? Have you ecoed at all? I guess this is your eco, but you're down to 1.4, which is not great. Well, this is an insane shot by you, but just as a bit of criticism. As soon as she shoots, you swing, right? In this instance from now on. Show it again. Because there's a little hesitation. That's what I want to point out. Watch. Right, as soon as this shot rings out, full swing. There's no need for hesitation here, okay? He's completely useless. His shot is up, that's it, he's out. But a very nice headshot. And then you have the AWP, which I don't think you like playing AWP. I could be wrong. Okay, one kill, good. Second guy kills you with Scout. Okay, nice tracking shot. Yeah, you drop the AWP immediately, so you don't like playing AWP. Okay. It's always been odd to me that certain players love AWP and certain players hate them from inception, right? From round one. From their first day playing the game. There's certain players that are like, drop me the AWP, there are other players that are like, nope, don't want to touch it. So just as a tip to improve your clearing or your entry pathing on a site, you want to play a little more narrow to this angle, because by peeking wide we're exposing ourselves to multiple angles. If we peek narrow, we can isolate angles at a time. So playing a little narrower here would be good. Also remember that this is a popular position that CTs can play. You can flush CTs out of this position with a Molotov. We call it pillar. Actually, we call it pool, to be fair. Pillar's and B site. Crosshair placement's fine. You're picking a little too wide. It's maybe a little higher level tip, but we want to narrow the peaks a little, isolate the fights, right? It's hard to do on a spectator camera, obviously. But we want to isolate the bricks fight, then isolate the stairs fight. Because you're peeking wide, you're exposing yourself to 3 angles at once. However, you are entering, and I'm sure T's will trade you. Well, they should trade you. So it's not that big a deal. So you're playing like entry position. Entry position typically is not going to have fantastic stats, because it's very hard to play entry on T side in CS2 and CSGO as well. But it's a great position. It's great to have someone that will entry and will entry fearlessly, which is probably the most important thing with entry fragging. You have to be fearless. You cannot hesitate. The other thing is having awareness of spacing, having awareness of taking space from the CT. And ideally, you have someone throwing good utility for you, but again, it's solo queue, so we have to have the mentality that if no one else is throwing good utility, we need to be throwing good utility. We can't just make an excuse for it. We have to do it ourselves. Again, just a slight thing, I already touched on this, don't have your knife out of this position. Oh, and you get team killed. I don't think this was deliberate though, right? I think it was an accident. I will check. But I don't think it was deliberate. It didn't look deliberate. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Okay, listen, like, shit like this happens. It sucks. It's super annoying. It can kind of like, it can tilt people quite easily, I suppose. I've always had the opinion, at least in my, maybe not so much when I was younger and actually tryharding in faceit stacks and stuff, but definitely nowadays I have the opinion that, like, if shit like this happens, you just gotta move past it immediately, right? There's no benefit in getting annoyed about it. I'm sure you weren't, but you just have to accept that solo queue sometimes you have stupid shit that happens which isn't your fault. But CT's won the round. Tech 9 again. Interesting run boost. A little too wide, that's fine. Crosshair placement on crosshair placement on Heaven is good. Crosshair placement on Bricks is not good, but obviously you're just learning the angles. You don't know these angles yet. I will say, again, just I've kind of already pointed this out, it's a little not great how there's no utility being thrown at all by you and your team, right? And again, if our team's not doing it, we have to do it. It would be good to have some utility so that there's not like 10 fucking angles that we can be killed at. And it would be good to be throwing a flash so that we can get out and not have to be just running into an AWP who can just easily multi-kill because there's no grenades forcing him off the angle. And again, just to go back to my mentality, I'm sure people are going to hate me because I keep fucking going on about this. But there's two options. We can either say, well, fucking hell, my team's shit, they don't flash for me, or we can do it ourselves. One will just keep you in the losing position of losing games. The other will actually make you start winning games. So it's up to you which path you want to take. But yeah, I mean, you're entering against an AWP. It's pretty rough regardless. Now we're going mid. This is a pretty disjointed round, pushing through the smoke. You just get traded. Not really that good. I can definitely see that the T team is very disjointed, which happens at solo queue. As I said, can't control it. Just gotta try and find impact however we can. Nice shot on the close left guy. Nice adjustment on the bricks guy. And CT guy. It's a very good round. This is extremely good. You pretty much won your team the round. Oh, don't push temple. No. Yeah, I mean, listen, what can I say? This is a great round from you. You take 3 entry kills, quite difficult fights. Nitpicking would be like crosshair placement should be a little higher, but you don't know this angle yet. But these 3 kills is a very good sequence. You effectively win your team the round with good crosshair placement and good aim. Now, criticizing you pushing here, on one hand, you're feeling it. You've got 3 kills, you want another. I understand. On the other, I also saw it in the Inferno game, which is sometimes you get a little greedy with chasing kills, which over time will negatively affect you quite a lot. Because over time, it's going to cost you a lot of rounds, right? If we extrapolate it across, like, say, 1,000 games, if you're always over-aggressing after getting a couple of sequences, it's not great. So this is an incredibly good round, don't get me wrong, but it's giving another sign, which we already saw in Inferno, that it could be good. It could be good to practice a little more discipline and fight selection as opposed to just chasing kills, right? But a very good round, a very strong round. You basically won this round alone as entering, which is very impressive. I didn't see that. I'll go back. So team's going mid this round. Good crosshair placement. And then you get traded. Okay, nothing too exciting. Okie dokie. Okay, gun out this time, which is good. So, point about this smoke is it's very easy for both sides to spam it, if that makes sense. CTs probably have an advantage spamming it because they have AF1S, which doesn't have tracers, this rifle. AK does have tracers. However, you will frequently see Ts that go onto the left side, so that they can dunk grenades into these common positions without too much risk, and they can also spam these common positions without too much risk. However, you don't know these positions yet, but it's worth being aware that this smoke is very heavily spammed very frequently. Oh, and someone pops the smoke, which lets you get a kill, which is nice. And then this guy close right trades you. Is that the end of T-side? It is. Okay, so thoughts on T-side from James. Good, honestly. This is a good T-side. From your individual perspective. As a team, it was a bit iffy. It was quite disjointed. The team play wasn't fantastic. But you're solo queue, so we don't really give a shit about that. We care about if you're doing your job right, which you were. You're playing entry, which I like. It suits a player with better crosshair placement, better aim to play entry role. Even though it's more detrimental to your stats, it allows you to have more impact, which is good. You had a very good round on B entry, where you got a triple kill. You attempted to entry A multiple times. The entering on A was a little less good, but I can maybe showcase how to do that a bit better. I will say that there's some issues in the sense you're not using any utility at all in terms of like taking sites. You probably don't know any yet, but that's obviously something that you can improve. And I also feel like there's, just coupled with the Inferno game, which I also watched today, there's a few signs of like being a little greedy and a little kill hungry, which is good to recognize and try and keep in check and try to practice as being a little more disciplined in fight selection. So in this case, it would mean on the B site, when you have 10 HP, saying, okay, I can't pursue this guy, I should just play a passive angle and guarantee the round win, as opposed to I might be able to get a 4th kill. However, that is very difficult to train. That kind of discipline requires a lot of work. But a very, very strong T side. If I had this T side, if I played these rounds as a T, I would be content as a good T round. I'll also point out statistics, because on CT side, you had similar statistics. You had a lot of kills and a lot of deaths, and I pointed out that the deaths were an indicator that you were taking a lot of unnecessary risk, and that was showed in the game, as we talked about in CT rounds, peeking mid, things like this. On this game, you have similar stats in terms of if you have good kills, and you also have a lot of deaths. However, we can't draw the same conclusion. This number of deaths was because you're playing entry role, which is the most dangerous role, and every time you're dying, you're allowing or creating space for your teammates to trade. So the deaths in this context are not a problem. And why it's really important that I highlight that, I think, is because I like to encourage people to read the game a little more than just stats. Because if we just saw these stats and compared them to the Inferno game, we'd say, okay, we played the same. We didn't. This was a much better T half than either of the halves that you had on Inferno. So, very encouraging. Very good. Okay, so you're playing mid on pistol? I don't know if you like this spot or you're just picking it because no one else is there. And you get caught off by rotation. It's obvious what the issue is here, right? No CT is here early rounds, which allows the Ts to take a ton of space without any with no one contesting them, so that when you do peek, you're fucked because 5 people are staring at you. However, again, we have 2 options from stuff like this when we play solo queue. We can either get irritated and just stubbornly continue to play mid, or we can say, okay, well, someone's got to play A. If no one else is going to do it, I'll have to do it, and I'll win us the round. So we'll see. And James is going to do it, so fantastic. This shows a good mentality. As soon as you recognize a problem in the team, you move to fix the problem, even if it's going to put you at a disadvantage. Right? That's what a good teammate does, a good team player does. And that's how we get good win rates and get good ranks, etc, etc. So I will say with this, though, peeking here is not particularly good with a 5-7. You could there's no one with you, so that you have the opportunity to just hide. Hiding is not good if you have a teammate that's reliant on you, but because you're singularly isolated on site, you can hide, and you can play just like hiding here, and then you get a close range angle, and they might not clear you properly. Swinging here is quite dangerous with a 5-7, just because of the range. Also, I'm curious why you buy MP7. Maybe you like the MP7. I feel like the MP9 is much better and cheaper. But I mean, I have said people can play what SMG they like, but the angle selection isn't terrible because you have a teammate behind you who's not watching. I guess he's baiting you, which is fine because in this context, it makes sense to bait a guy. So ideally, they take a fight with you, and then this guy could peek and kill, right? So this would be a good double up setup. Ideally, he should just be facing the pillar. So when they start shooting, he peeks, double kill. So in this context, this position is fine. It's not a good solo position, but crouches under your spray. Teammate peeks too late. I'll show you just from his perspective how he fucked this up. Because he did fuck this up. Which happens. Again, let's not have too high opinions of players, because we don't give a shit about that. But I am just want to show you how this guy fucked this up, because he is in a good position, right? So when you die here, he should peek now. He should be peeking. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. When he does peek, they kill him. So this is him just having shit timing. The reason I'm teaching you that is so that if you play this position, this is very strong. So if you have like Jamie or whoever with you on A site, I mean the meta rotation is actually to play A solo currently on Anubis, but on lower rank it's probably going to be a lot more random. But this is a very strong setup if you were here, for example, and you had Jamie here or whoever playing close, and then as soon as whoever it is takes contact, you peek, it would be super strong. So this is a very strong setup, undone by this guy not understanding how to play it, which is fine. But I just wanted to explain what how good the setup can be if it's done properly. Okay, so this is a better angle for M4. Bomb is dropped middle. So you're going to go towards middle. Guy's pressuring long. He's going to come double door. Good adjustment to kill him. You hear him drop. He's actually running all the way around. This isn't a particularly good angle. I'm going to guess you don't win this fight. Just because this angle is really bad. Firstly, he can get super close and swing, which would make him impossible to kill, and he would just destroy you. Secondly, it's not a good angle because if he's peeking from the right and you're holding from the left, he has an advantage in the sense that he'll see you before you see him. So a better position, because considering your teammate has this under control, like you know your teammate's here, would just be to hold like close left. Or you could play here, I guess, and play on the right side or whatever. Just looking down the door is not great. Guess we'll see. Well, yeah. I mean, he did kind of also get a lucky shot on you. B7 again. You don't really, I don't ever see you like fully ecoing on CT side. You're almost always buying, which I don't know, I don't think that's a good thing. You kind of want to be getting the M4 as much as possible. This is not a good smoke, obviously, because Tees could jump on this bench and just kill you here. But fortunately, there's no one here. But you don't know how to smoke, you're new to the map, so whatever. And you're going to get sandwiched. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Didn't do anything wrong, really. Interesting setup. Teammate's peeking, you want to peek with him. It's a good adjustment to kill this guy. I don't necessarily think peeking was good, but that's okay. You got the fight. Good. Get an AK for free. Guy's coming behind. You see him, I think? And then you kill him. Good. Good rounds. I said this before on Alex's game, but when we get out of spawn, obviously, ideally, in an ideal world, we want to be as fast as possible out of spawn. We don't want to be dropping guns and all this shit. But if you are a little late, it's worth, excuse me, it's worth bearing in mind that if you have slower timing, that you don't play the same angle that you're normally used to, because the timing will be scuffed. In this round, I think you go A and then bomb drops mid. Teammate kills the teammate mid, and then you go towards mid, right? Right, okay. So that's why you go back towards mid. However, you now need to be aware that A is open. You have a smoke though, so you can just smoke off camera and just... Oh. Yeah, okay, not the best. This is a bit of a scuffy round, that's fine. You kind of do the right thing, but you just do it too late. So when you move towards mid, we have bomb secured. We have to worry about... Okay. Oh, it's James, a cameo in his own video. There you go. Which made me lose my track of thought, James. Damn you. So going into here, going to mid early round when bombers drops is correct, but then we can just smoke this and just hold the smoke, right? There's no reason to re-aggress on A site. We don't need A site anymore. We have bomb control. They have to push a narrow choke point. Yes, they could go CT, but if they do, think about how long it's going to take. Is that likely? Not really. By which point you would probably hear them. They're not going to walk the entire way. So just do the better thing. In terms of the mechanics of like these whiffs, I think it's just a case of like, just, you know, a bit of a whiff. I don't think it's anything major. Yeah, crosshair placement is fine. It's just slightly off. And then obviously you're shooting a little too, you're sort of doing what's in between tapping and bursting, right? Like you're shooting too quickly for it to be bursting because of aim reset. But so this is technically bursting, but you're not spraying control. So the bullets are just going everywhere. And then you just fully whiff the spray. Whatever, it happens. Then you smoke the thing, but by that point they've overrun you and killed you. So a bit of a bad round, but nothing too terrible. Just something to improve on. And now you have AWP. What the fuck? So AWPing on A is very good. And this is a good angle to AWP from. You should double scope here. There's no reason to... Good? Oh my god, I'm speaking in your mind. The reason I say this is not because of James, but I've noticed this with other demo reviews that I've seen. I feel like for some reason people are like nervous to double scope. Like they never double scope. It just makes the shot so much easier. Good kill, good repeak. T fucks off because he doesn't want to deal with an AWP. You're moving while shooting, but you get away with it because you're using a 5.7. And again, nice, good clutch, 2v1, round 1. So, yeah, this is a very strong game. I'm not necessarily, yeah, I mean, this was a very strong game. This was a great game. I don't think that you should be at 4K elo, which I'm assuming is where the game's going to be putting you because you keep going into 4K games. I would say you probably should be around maybe 10 to 12K elo, I would reckon. But, I mean, what do I know? I felt CT side was pretty strong. Obviously, you haven't got a favoured position yet. The meta rotation on Anubis can be a bit tricky. There were quite a few good rounds. There was a couple of whiffs with mechanics, but that's fine. It's to be expected. You're not playing super consistently. Good damage dealt for a second game on Anubis. This was very good. I might now have a look at Anubis. Maybe. I show some shit on it. But I'm worried that I'm going to make this video way too long, and I feel like people are probably just going to get bored watching these things, but let's see. And I could obviously stitch this into 2 videos, but I can't be fucked to do that because it requires video editing and I'm lazy, so sorry. Right, I'll just quickly set the server up. Right, so first things first, B protocol. If you're going towards B, a better protocol for you that you can just literally copy and paste this, right? Just an easy protocol. So what you were doing is you're just like running here with your knife out, and then when you were getting to about here, you were swapping your gun out. Don't do that. Instead, focus immediately when you get to this position. Bank off this wall here, a grenade like this. And then have your gun out the entire time, right? And then you can hold for push. Or if you are going aggressive, you could just run with your gun out and then do something, okay? But this grenade is very good. It counters early rushes. It does a ton of damage if they're close. If they're on force buy, when they're pushing through, they'll take a ton of damage. You can also use a flash, but it's not as good. I'll show you some very basic smokes you can throw. If you line up with this second column, the one with red on it, that's the way I remember it, and you do a, you could do one on, this is the CT smoke, which is you just look at this third under, I don't know what to call this, lapel thing, whatever the fuck it is. Just do a smoke, it's not a jump through or anything. That'll smoke CT, like that. This blocks off the rotator from CT. And you can also, alternatively, if you want, you can smoke Palace from the same position. Which is, I think here, yeah. And this will smoke Palace. So with these two smokes, you block rotation, you divide the site in two. Then when you're getting close, if you want an easy Molotov, you could just throw a Molotov off this. This will just eliminate this side from angle clearing entirely, so you don't have to worry about it. And you could just take these angles, right? And then you can just worry about the angles on the right. You can also just throw a flash off this as well, this wall, and peek with it. And there's no chance of you getting blinded. Meanwhile, any opponent gets fucked. Okay? I'm not going to talk about mid, really. Oh fuck! I can show you one strat you can do on mid if you need a Tech 9 strat. You can do what I like to call, I call this a waterfall strat. Just smoke like this. The smoke lands quite deep. You group up with your teammates. You could call that you want to do this. Then you all walk to this point as like a 5, and then you all drop down, and then you can rush the cave guy together. That's a strat you can call and do with only your utility. You can also do this. Oh, excuse me, I think it's here actually. This smoke on. You can do this yourself. There's a utility set that you can use. You throw this smoke. Obviously, you would run to where I'm flying, right? Can't fly, I know. This blocks off cave. You can get close to cave. Obviously, this smoke will not be as long lasting because I flew, whereas you'll be walking the entire way. You can spam if you want. You can reload after the spam. Again, this is what I call like a solo play. So that in solo queue games, if you have solo queue games, what am I talking about? If you're solo queue, you can find impact alone without teammates, which is what you need to do if you want to win consistently. Then you can do this molly, and then you can peek with a molly, and then anyone in cave will be running away, and then you can kill them, and then you're in cave and you're in a position to help your teammates going B. So you could call that as a strat. You could say, okay, if you wait outside B, I'll tell you when to go. Do what I told you, and then say go, they push, you come out cave, you're good to go. And then some very simple stuff on A. You can throw a heaven smoke like this. You just you see there's like a dot on this box. Put your crosshair on the right side of the dot. I guess a little higher actually. And do a jump throw. This will smoke off heaven, so that when you're clearing A, you would come narrower, like I said. You would clear these two angles. And then you wouldn't have to worry about this angle, and then you can clear bricks and whatever. Fine. Okay. Also, mollying off this is good if you're not first. Obviously, remember the rule that if you're first, you don't want to have a grenade down your hand. But if you have a teammate going here and you're second, you can molly this. Then check here, because this guy will try and run away. Obviously, he'll try and drop down to the Molotov. You can kill him. Then you can, you know, clear angles. And then when you peek, try and peek more narrow so you can take individual fights. So you take bricks, then you take con. It's a bit of bad cross placement by me. Bricks, con, and close. A flashes are quite easy. You just do the same thing. Oh, bad smoke. Just do the flash like this. They'll blind anyone on site. We're playing the open spot position. So if you remember, there was an AWP here, I think, one round. Excuse me. Right, there was an AWP playing here, and you were like entering alone. But you could have just thrown this flash for your teammate, or you could throw it for yourself. You could throw a flash for yourself, like you could throw a flash like into the pool like that, and then you don't have to worry about it, but it will blind the bricks guy, and then whatever, right? Just have some self-sufficiency with grenades so that you're not completely in trouble if you're solo queue. One final smoke I'll show you, because why not? Go up to these bricks, look at the dark line, do the smoke, then you could do the flashes to your team, and this smokes off camera. Alright, hopefully that's enough, and hopefully it's helpful. Thanks for submitting the demo so we could take a look at Anubis.